I'm sure quite a number of you cannot wait for that exciting job offer. In fact, it's something you are looking forward to. But if you've worked long enough, like I have, you realize that all that glitters is not gold. And now you may be wondering, what will make an individual get an exciting job offer and still refuse it? Well, I'll tell you after this time out.
Tired of getting bad advice from well meaning people? Want to get to the root of that pressing challenge? Then join Efe Omordia, a behavior specialist and certified mentor, on the Behavior Hub YouTube channel as she talks about real life issues.
Yes, writing has opened some doors for me. In fact, my very first job as a media, as a journalist, in the media as a journalist, was through my writing, my interest in writing. So now, for you to understand, for me to go into the detail of why I refused a job, a lucrative job in Abuja, somewhere in Abuja, we have to go back to the beginning. We have to go down memory lane. Yes, when I was a journalist, I had worked like for, in fact, how I got that job was through a consultant, in a media house in Abuja. The owner of the media house wanted to introduce a new concept, a new magazine, and he needed some experts. And the consultant knew a lady that I was familiar with. We were in the same association, Association of Nigerian Authors then. And as a result of that, she knew that I loved writing and I had volunteered and had done one or two writing projects, and she knew I had loved writing. So when her husband was talking about getting somebody, she just recommended me, and that's how I got the job. Yes, I'll tell you. Maybe I've said it in a previous video, but I'll talk about that job in other videos, I'm sure, subsequently. So I got the job, and after a while, I left the job and I went to Lagos that time. I just graduated like 2 or 3 years before then or so. So I just graduated. I was relatively a fresh graduate. So I came to Lagos, or I went to Lagos, and I did a bit of I just did a bit of auditioning to act. I just did a bit of auditioning. I will go to the National Arts Theatre, and I'll go for auditions, and I got some offers. I acted in a play about Nana of Ishekiri. Yes, a play to do with the Nana of Ishekiri. So I got a role. So when I got the role, the consultant, meanwhile, my friend's husband has become a kind of a close friend at that point. So he was someone, like, I would call him in a sense as a mentor. He was a mentor to me in a sense, because he used to guide me concerning my job, and I used to report to him at that point when he was a consultant. So when he was a consultant, there was a particular man he met. The man was the owner of, in fact, the man was the person, the building that the media house was belonged to that man that owned a park. Yes, a park in Abuja, an amusement park. In fact, it was the biggest amusement park in Abuja at that point. Yes, that was the park. So he was the owner. So there was a time I had to do something that my consultant wanted to write about the park, and now sent me to the man's office within that same complex, because he was the owner of the complex, to go and interview him, to find out, to get the details so that we could write something about him. And I wrote that particular article. So at that point, so I went and I interviewed the man, but there was something strange. I noticed that the man, after the interview, for no reason, because after, when you interview someone, I was not supposed to have any contact with him. As I was leaving, or later in the day, I can't remember which, his secretary now got in touch with me and was like, the man wanted my phone number. And if you stayed long enough in Abuja, or if you've worked long enough in Abuja, you realize that there are quite a number of randy men in Abuja. Yes, married men that are interested in dating single women. So when he asked for my number, I didn't feel comfortable. That his boss wanted my number, I didn't feel comfortable. So I did not release that information. And by the time I now moved to Lagos to do some other stuff, to start like my rehearsals, acting, and all that. In fact, there was a production that was supposed to be the production was supposed to happen at Muson Center in Lagos. So I'd been going for the rehearsals. I'd gotten a role. I was supposed to be King Nana of Ishekiri's last wife or something of that nature. That was my role at that point. So we're going for auditions, and how auditions work is that they would call you when it's time to do your own role, for you to do your own practicing or whatever, and you practice and you leave. So at that point, that was when my former boss, in quote, like the consultant, the guy that I describe as my mentor, now got in touch with me. So when he got in touch with me, it was like there's a job offer that particular amusement park, they needed people to work there, and the salary was at least three times the salary that I was earning when I was in that media house. It was at least three times the salary. So it was lucrative enough, at least for a recently, for a graduate, not so, I was in my 20s then. So it was quite a lucrative opportunity, and it had potentials, working in a place like that, because it would attract a lot of tourists, a lot of visitors. You have an opportunity to interface with, people that are considered the who is who in their society. So, and it was the largest amusement park in Abuja at that point. In West Africa, yes, the park was the largest park in West Africa. So it was causing quite a buzz. So you would see it as an opportunity that I will rush to accept. But you know what happened? I refused to take that job. I refused that opportunity. And people will be wondering why. I refused for two reasons. For the fact, first, that I had committed myself to the acting project. Normally when they have rehearsals, they have two people for each role. But somehow for that particular role, I was the only person. So if one person is not available, the other person can do that role. But I was the only person for that role, and it was close to production. And it clashed with like the interview date. If I had to go all the way to Abuja, I was in Lagos at that point. So I told the consultant that, sorry, I won't be able to attend. I won't be able to accept this job offer, because the consultant was also the consultant for that project. He was in charge of recruiting people. So it was virtually that I got the job. I didn't really need to do anything much, just really to come to Abuja and get the job. So it was like, but I'm this kind of person. I'm a loyal person. I don't just throw people under the bus, and I don't just jump ship if I feel that there's a bigger opportunity, because I just believe that in life there's more than making money. It's good to earn a good salary, it's good to aspire to greatness, but it shouldn't be at the expense of your character. People should be able to trust you. People should be able to see you many years after and say, oh, I worked with this person. This person is, when it comes to issues of finances, this person is very reliable. People should be able to trust you, and people should be able to, trust you. Basically, they should be able to say good things about you. Not that some people say it doesn't really matter, but your reputation matters, especially when you are on your career trajectory. You have to be very careful not to do things that will stain your name, especially when it comes to being loyal, being, just try to be the best that you can be. Of course, I made my mistakes as an employee, and once in a while I talk about that on this channel, because I want to guide people, younger people, to help them not make the mistakes that I made. So I'm not saying that I was a perfect employee, but I'm just trying to say that as much as possible, we should all try to be above board in certain aspects. So because I had committed to this new project, I couldn't just up and leave. It wouldn't be fair, because it was close to the production, and it would be quite hard to get someone to replace, to take my role. So I declined. And another reason I declined, I don't think I told that consultant, yes, I don't think I told him, was that I knew that the owner of the organization was interested in me. He wanted to date me, and he was a married man, and of course I wasn't even interested. He was way older, and it just was not my thing. That kind of thing, first of all. And when you're in a professional environment, you have to be very careful. You should be able to separate the two. Don't mix your romantic life with your professional life. I'll talk about that subsequently, as much as possible, especially when it comes to a single person dating a married person. It's a very, very wrong thing to do, and it has its consequences, most of the time negative consequences. So don't see it as an opportunity. You are a young woman or a young man, you are working in an organization, and your boss has his eye on you, and you are so eager to date the person. Be very careful about that. So because I knew that he was interested in me, there was no way I would work in his organization and he will not find a way to maybe ask me out or victimize me. So I didn't want to go through that drama. When from the beginning I knew what was his intention. And of course, he did not know that the consultant had called me because he gave the consultant the project. But I knew that eventually he will find out that I'm the same person that was in that media organization that went to interview him. And he will try to pursue me, or he'll be upset for me not giving his PA or his secretary my number at that point. So I just knew that it was going to be very messy. So I decided to just avoid that environment. Now, so I did not get that opportunity. But something interesting happened. You know, sometimes when you lose one opportunity, you feel that it's the end of the world. Oh, if you don't get that opportunity, you can never get something else. It's not true. Because I got a more lucrative offer in Abuja after that. And the offer came with accommodation in Maitama. The salary was like crazy. In fact, it was crazy. At that point, it was like an equivalent of earning like 3 to 4 million a month, 4 million naira. That was it, with accommodation. So you wouldn't have to pay for accommodation, and you will not even have to pay for food. Yes, that was the job offer I got. And guess what? I still refuse that second one. And you'll be wondering why. If you're interested in that particular story, write it in comments why I rejected that more lucrative offer. And I would do the video. I'll do a video telling you exactly why I refused that offer of accommodation in Maitama, beautiful salary, and other perks. So if you're interested and you're curious and you want me to make a video about that, put it in comment. But now let's go to this particular one. So at the end, I declined the offer. And today, as we speak, the owner of that particular park has transited. He's no longer in this part of the divide. He has transited. And when he transited, some things came up that were very controversial and that linked him to some criminal activities, very dangerous criminal activities. I don't want to talk about this on social media here, because there are some words that are not YouTube friendly, but he was involved with at least he was alleged to be involved with very shady criminalistic characters that are presently causing mayhem even till date in Nigeria. The set of people he was associated, he had some links with them. So you can imagine, I would have been earning some money from a place that the root is evil. And what people don't realize, wherever you work, it matters. If you work for someone that has some shady deals and what he's doing, the consequences of the actions, if not physically, it will affect you spiritually. Yes, you may not believe it, but you have to be careful the kind of people you associate with, the kind of people you work with, where you take opportunities. Be very careful. So today he has transited, and unfortunately, also the consultant that wanted to help me at that point, has also transited. And he transited like maybe 10 years ago. I can't remember, 10 years or more ago. And he was really a good person, because from the time that he met me in that media house, that his wife introduced me to him, he was very keen on helping me. And I had no reason. Anytime he had opportunities, he would get in touch with me. In fact, when he became the SA to a particular governor, he was like, I'm going to, and once I settle down, I'm going to call you and all that. You are going to come and work with me. He just became like a brother, a mentor. We were very close, and he was just a nice person to me. I don't know why till today. I don't know exactly why he just adopted me as his child. No, I can't be his child, because I'm not, as but he adopted me to be like a younger sister, younger sibling, till today. I don't know why. But wherever he is, I really thank him for those opportunities that he opened up for me. So have you ever had a mentor, someone that, just liked you and just opened a path for you in your career and opened opportunities for you? Or have you been in a situation where you were offered a job and you refused to take the job because of the funny conditions attached to it? So just tell me. Let's continue the conversation in the comments. In this channel, I try to guide young people on career and relationship choices, because they are intertwined. Your career and your relationship will go a long way in determining your purpose. So till I see you in the next video, take